Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. It is Friday, and this is our last video of the day, unless something wild happens, but I think this will be it from us, unless somebody tweets something crazy, in which case we'll be on it. In the meantime, we are not here to call people out. We're here to discuss what's going on within the Bachelor community. I didn't mean for this to happen, but it's almost like we discuss all the things that happen outside the show versus what actually happens inside the show. And there's a lot that happens outside the show with dozens, if not hundreds of alumni that we talk about now. One of which being this season's Marlena. Marlena. Either way, she tweeted sort of that she loves Chris Brown. I don't care. And some other people do care, and we'll talk about their response to it. As you guys know, Marlena was on an apology. She had an apology statement, which was made, I believe this is about a week ago, after she posted her roast that she did of the fellow contestants. She posted on TikTok and Instagram, and of course did not hit the mark she was intending. She thought she was being funny, and a lot of people took offense to that. She gave an apology. I would like to say that Sarah and I have spoken about this privacy as our feelings were what I was concerned about at the time. I needed a moment to gather myself to truly understand how the context of my joke could harm the Asian community. Now, today, we're talking about something slightly different. Like I said, I think this was last night, right? Today's the 25th. So like last night, she tweets, I love Chris Brown. I don't care. You know what's interesting about Twitter? No one makes any money on Twitter, but Twitter has the ability to take away a lot of people's money. Now, I don't think Marlena is really working as an influencer, but you know, a lot of people are upset at her, supporting of someone who has committed a domestic assault. While I assumed this was an old tweet, she could try to explain away with it was a long time ago and I was a different person, but it was literally today. WTF? No opinion of Marlena has really crashed and burned my opinion of her has really crashed and burned these last couple of weeks. So after that tweet, she said, no need to explain yourself. You can be a fan of someone's talent, but not agree with their life decisions. Listening to someone's music doesn't equate to supporting negative behavior. Don't project your deeply rooted hate as if it should be mine as well. Respectfully. Someone said, I agree with you. I don't agree with all of Chris Brown's actions, even as a fan of Chris Brown. And then also, she deleted it because even though she said she didn't care about publicly supporting Chris Brown, a repeated abuser of black women, she didn't like being held accountable, and thus she does care. Any woman who supports repeated physical abuse of black women doesn't sit right with me. Now, I can't properly understand what Marlena was trying to say with her tweet. It might be obvious to say, oh, the tweet's right there. This is exactly what she was trying to say. But I think what we have when we have miscommunication is something that comes out of Marlena's mouth or tweets, and then the way we consume things. So people are saying, oh, she doesn't support, or she supports people that abuse black women. I don't think that's what her intent was, although I understand, now don't get it twisted with me, that that's how it comes off by saying, I love Chris Brown. Chris Brown was someone who was, of all of the people of cancel culture, probably should have been canceled, right? Probably not worth sort of a redemption tour. But we'll get into it. Now, I wanted to share this quote that I've kind of talked about often. As Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis wrote in 1927, almost a century ago, if there be time to expose through discussion the falsehood and fallacies, to avert the evil by the processes of education, the remedy to be applied is more speech, not enforced silence. Now, this isn't a free speech issue that has to deal with like government. So obviously nothing that's said on Twitter's platform is a First Amendment issue. Twitter's a private company. They have a platform. They can delete something they want. You guys can decide to cancel somebody. That's where we exist. Free world. So I'm not comparing that. But what I do think is important is saying, hey, if that's how Marlena feels, post it. We'll talk about it. If someone else feels a certain way about a war or about a truckers strike or whatever it is, post it, share your thoughts. Now, that's up to you to do at your own risk. Chances are you're going to have something taken away from you. If Marlena was, a Peloton sponsor and someone was really upset that Peloton would choose her to represent them because of her views of Chris Brown, then someone can write into Peloton and say, oh, I disagree with your sponsor. I'm going to cancel my subscription. You can put your money where your mouth is. You can do that. But with this scenario, I think it's just for us at least, a chance to discuss, like, why has Chris Brown not been canceled? And when Marlena says she loves his music but not him, I can understand how people could misread or what she's actually saying, because she says, I love Chris Brown. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. She's not saying, hey, Chris Brown's got some great music. I love this, like R. Kelly, Coke and Rum. What's the song? Sipping on Coke and Rum. I'm like soda. I'm drunk. It's a banger of a song. You'd be objectively biased to say it's not a great party rocking song. I can literally smell spiced rum, snuck into a Diet Coke bottle in, when we were all like 15. I can feel that. Now, that doesn't mean that you play that song at your wedding, because then people go, all right, now it makes me think of R. Kelly. And like, you know what I mean? Some things, there's a reaction for things. So, but, if she says, hey, this was a great song, I hate what he did, blah, blah, blah. All right, well, look, it doesn't, the thing that kills me when people are like, oh, it's like, just to take a different example, people are like, oh, Louis C.K., what a trash comedian. He's horrible. Listen, come on, objectively, you might not like him. He's one of the funnier comedians that exists. He, by the way, was supposed to play in Kiev, Ukraine yesterday. How wild is that? That his tour date that was supposed to start, because he plays all over the world, was supposed to be the day that a war broke out. Just wild. Either way, the point being is that it's funny when people are like, oh, I didn't even like that person anyway, they're trash. Like, obviously Chris Brown is really talented, but obviously he's super flawed. I don't understand why Marlena would even feel the need to tweet it, because who cares? It's a weird hill to die on, I guess they would say. So cancel culture is the internet's version of shunning someone from society, whether that be on social media or even in person. But of course, Chris Brown wasn't canceled. In the early 2000s, Chris Brown was an up-and-coming R&B artist. If you offered me $1 million to name one Chris Brown song, I'll be honest, I couldn't do it. I'm sure you could play me 10 of his songs and go, oh, I know that song. But off the top of my head, couldn't name you one of his songs. Shot at fame with hits including Nowhere and Forever. Yeah, I don't know those. His downfall began in 2009 when he pleaded guilty to physically assaulting his then-girlfriend Rihanna. It was a brutal photo. If anyone saw these photos, I'm not going to share them. Whilst the internet was rocked by the viral triggering photos of the attack, his song started dropping from the radio, and Brown himself was sentenced to 5 years probation and community service. Of course, we know he's had multiple issues of rage since then. He's clearly got problems. Lizzo's reaction to meeting Chris Brown, which went viral, received tons of backlash and brought back up the question of his relevancy. She referred to him as her favorite person in the world. How he continues to be held in such high regard despite his continued violent offenses, plus his feature on Kanye's new album, Donda, highlights the inefficacy. Oh my gosh, I can't. It's Friday, folks. I can't pronounce words. All right, that'll force you to leave a comment so you can feel smarter than I am. Anyway, this coupled with Brown's 2017 autobiographical movie paints him as a sympathetic character that is deserving of second chances. The movie Welcome to My Life is Brown's apology letter to his victims and works as an intimate piece of PR that serves as an honest tell-all. He shares his experience and puts forward his extreme remorse for his actions. Usher in this movie details how it's a life lesson for all of us because it's affected all of us. If you truly do love Chris Brown, then you've felt everything that's gone on with him. I don't really know the story personally, but I do know like bad people in my life that have redeemed themselves and overcome things. It has to be very hard though as a public figure like Chris Brown to, with so many enablers that may exist around you to overcome that, I would have to think. Anyway, to have others successful in love black men speak highly of Brown, it compels the argument of whether forgiving and accepting him is the right thing to do, especially since separating the art and the artist has become the social norm, so people can morally enjoy music and TV that they like, perhaps allowing for Brown to continue to create is what's best for his fans. The movie succeeds in creating an image of Brown as an almost tragic, misguided figure with its use of sad music when he discusses the abuse and using popular celebrities that speak highly of him. I think if Marlena had a Spotify playlist with Chris Brown on it, no one would look twice at it. But the fact that she tweeted and endorsed, I love him. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. People are like, oh my gosh, we want to love you. We want to love you. But what's going on here? I'm not judging. I'm not judging her because for me, it's like, look, people will judge me if I judge her and she, it's like, how far down the human centipede do we go here? I understand the people that don't want to support her if she's not evolved enough to sort of think why that tweet wouldn't work out. But I also think she's like all of us are doing the best and didn't realize how, I know it's a hard stance to take. How could she not realize? I mean, the guy's clearly had so many issues, but that's what, I don't know. All right, I'm going to play 3 of your voicemails. They are about nothing to do with this story. The first one is about to do with Demis Autism. Let's have a listen.
Hello, this is Natalie calling from Alberta. I just wanted to call in. We were in the chat and just discussing some things, and the written word sometimes can be highly misunderstood, especially on this topic. So I just wanted to call in and share something that I learned about autism, that as we know, most people with autism can be incredibly intelligent in some areas.
Sure.
And I learned this when my son was diagnosed about 5 or 6 years ago, going through the psychoeds at the school psychoeducational evaluation. What was interesting to me was he was found that he is actually a genius in two areas. I believe it was verbal processing and memory, but he was average at everything else. So the learning disability wasn't that he was disabled in any area, it was that gap between being a genius in two areas and being able to think extremely fast and not basically being able to say it out loud as fast, and creating that disability. I don't know if that makes any sense. I just thought that was super, super interesting, and it's an important bit of information that people with autism, they're not really disabled or lower functioning than other people. It's actually usually the opposite, and it's that gap in those two areas that create the confusion.
I'm going to cut you off there. I think that's so, yeah, you're absolutely right. We've been talking about Demis' autism diagnosis, and it's not that it's anyone's lesser than, it's that the mechanics of how they communicate are different because their brains are working differently. So it's kind of just like, it's like having a little special power, but also that can also hold you up in certain ways. So I hear. But thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. I wish I could play your full voicemail, but I have to get through these next two.
Hi, Dave. This is Jane from Santa Cruz, and I just wanted to say you're the best.
Oh,
you're
stop.
such a young man, and yet you have such a great understanding. Have you ever thought of psychology? Going into that field? You're really
No, I want to do comedy, but thank you.
good. You're so open-minded. You try to remind us all to be as well. I think it's great. And I'm glad you're expanding beyond Bachelor. We need you out there for the real issues. Not that I don't watch Bachelor, but you know what I mean. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane from Santa Cruz. I appreciate you. No, look, of course, like we want to talk about bigger things outside of Bachelor, but hey, this is our start. Let's blow up this niche first. Thank you so much for the call.
Hey, Dave. This is Mary Lou, and I'm calling from Lathrop Village, Michigan.
Hi,
Love
Mary
your
Lou.
channel. And I want to congratulate you on talking about Demi Burnett's autism diagnosis. My brother is 7 years older than I am, and I'm in my late 50s. And his girlfriend seems to think he may be on the spectrum. Just saying this based on the fact that we have a terrible relationship we've had all of our lives. And I'm wondering if this diagnosis might give us both a different perspective. What a loss, I guess is what I'm saying, because he's got friends, I've got a lot of friends, but we don't get along together. And this opens up another facet of discussion. So thank you for bringing that up. And also congratulations on mentioning Marianne Williamson and her view on healthcare. I think it's also really, really important that we have that discussion too. So yeah, thanks. Love your show and keep doing the good work. Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you so much, Mary Lou in Michigan. I always love when people call in. By all means, you can call in 401-213-9828. Let me know what you have, any topics you want to discuss, whether it be Bachelor Nation or anything whatsoever. I'll answer a good UFO question. I think aliens came to the Earth to mine for gold, and they just left us there. We're genetic programming. I don't know. You ever hear that theory? That's why all the pyramids exist, because it somehow has to deal with. Okay, that's too far. I should play the the right music if we're going to talk about that. But the point is, call up voicemail line 401-213-9828. And I thank you guys all so much for your delicate words around tough conversations. This is what we need more of in our country. Not getting necessarily just upset at everybody, but understanding why they tick the way that they do. And I appreciate that. I know you guys do too. And I thank you guys all so much. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye now.